and have had the opportunity to do quite a bit of roles in the company. So really excited to be in this current role of research director, where I get to really take a look at what's affecting college, career, and life readiness right now. So I think we're in a really exciting time, and I'm excited to share a little bit about the framework with you. So I'm going to be using the gray book that's in your... There we go. You're the wrong way. I'm going to be using the gray book that's on your table, but just a little bit about the background of what led to kind of us wanting to go with the college, career, and life readiness framework. We had heard a lot from our Naviance users and even just the field in general that, it's hard to kind of conceptualize what college and career readiness is and put it all into words and kind of put together a program that's delivering everything that we need. So what we wanted to do, what we started out doing is just kind of an overview of what people are doing in the market. What's college and career readiness? How can we define it? What really does it mean? And then how do we deliver it and make sure our students are successful? So, just the background, a little bit of it. Our students are changing, and I think, like I mentioned, we're in a really cool time. I think that our definition of success is changing. So, no longer is it, are we preparing students just to go into a 4-year degree or to go into the workforce? I think there are different pathways to get to where we want to be. We're starting to build training around what students want to be instead of sending everyone into a 4-year school and letting them decide there. So I think apprenticeships, certificates, micro-credentialing, all of those things are starting to emerge more and more, and we get to have those conversations with our students of what really, is your passion, who are you, how can we align what you want to do in your future to your strengths, and then how can we get you there in the most efficient and effective and cost-friendly way. So I think that, we look at college and career readiness as college knowledge and career knowledge and academic skills, but are we really looking at the whole picture when it comes to college and career readiness? So I think we're seeing students who are, having a hard time dealing with stress, or they are, having a hard time persevering. So you can see here that students with the lower social and emotional skills or without that programming in their school are having a decrease in their academic performance. They're seeing more behavior referrals. They are not graduating at the same rate. In the same note, we're also hearing that students who are not making successful transitions, I'm not sure if you've seen the research on engagement and hope, but students who have a hard time in that transition from elementary school to middle school are having a loss of motivation. They don't see their goals. They don't see the future, what the future holds. So they're just getting unmotivated, and they don't want to. They don't know what they're working towards. So they decline in their academic performance, and they don't feel good about where they're at, and they don't feel like they're measuring up or just motivated to go there. So, that's the early transition from elementary to middle school. When students get from middle school to high school, that drop off is even worse. So the hope and the motivation that students are seeing can severely lack if we don't help them through those transitions. And then also we're hearing from our employers and workforce, and I'm sure you have lots of conversations with them. Our students are coming in maybe technically prepared or academically prepared. They're smart kids, but when they enter the workforce, they're not prepared to work in a team, and they're not prepared to communicate effectively. Maybe they don't know how to write an email with capital letters or without emojis. And their work ethic just isn't up to par. So all of this really contributes to I think, an opportunity to expand how we think about college and career readiness and begin to connect those dots of college and career readiness really isn't just those hard skills and that college knowledge, but it incorporates a lot of maybe what we do already in the schools, and just strategically putting that all together into a way to make sure that we're preparing our students for that next step. So all of that really led to the college, career, and life ready framework in those discussions. So I got a full year to dig into the research, and I've talked to some of you out there even, and you're reflected in this, but we took a look at the scopes and sequences of schools and districts across the country and different sizes and types, public, private, charter. Talked to district and school leaders, we talked to some of the leading researchers in the field, dug into the research, we looked at ESSA plans, the approved ESSA plans that were available at that time, and then all of the state mandates. So a lot of I think we're at 36 even state mandates, but we found some good evidence in 31 of those. And then pull all of that together and began coding. And I guess I should also mention that we also dug into the national models that our industry is really following. So ASCA, CASEL, which is the SEL organization, and then Redefining Ready. So if you haven't seen Redefining Ready, and went to redefiningready.org, that is from the Superintendent's Association, AASA, and they put together a lot of metrics that define college ready and career ready and life ready students. So we put all of that together and coded and really began some iterations and then bounced those off of people and came up with, as I mentioned, what we call the college, career, and life ready framework. So the framework is really a roadmap that allows schools to make sure that students are getting everything that they need, that we're serving the whole student when it comes to college and career and life readiness. I think that life is really important in this, and it gives us, I think, an opportunity to really think outside the box when we're doing programming with our students, and to make sure that all of our programming is really connected. So we're not doing an SEL lesson over here and then a college search lesson over here. That it's really all connected to the student's future, and that they, in that process, then decide who they want to be, where they want to go, and the best way to get there. So the College, Career, and Life Ready Framework has 6 competencies, and each of those competencies have several themes under them. So the first one is social emotional learning. So again, this isn't going to be a surprise to many of you, but again, it is just a way to really pull it all together. So social emotional learning, we're making sure that students know their strengths, that they know how to work with their strengths, that they understand how to manage stress, that they are self-aware, that they know how to make informed decisions. All things that are going to help them in middle school, in high school, and then beyond into life. So really, I see the social emotional skills as the way to build a base, really, of knowledge and skills, and just a way of living that we can, best prepare our students to leave us eventually someday, right? The second competency is interpersonal skills, and that really incorporates all of the 21st century skills, but it also combines the concept of supportive adults, so identifying your support network and this whole teamwork and everything that we talked about that employers want, those 21st century skills that employers want, their online presence, understanding their brand, and then getting involved. The next 3, so academic skills, I should say, we don't want to dismiss the fact that academic skills and career knowledge and college knowledge are vital to this whole process, and we don't want to throw them out. That's absolutely for sure. So academic skills incorporates those learning styles. So do students understand how they learn? And then when they do, they're going to learn better, again, through middle school, through high school, in college, or whatever post-secondary training they have, and then also in the workforce. So if we can instill a love for learning and really an understanding of learning styles at a young age, then students are going to be more likely to carry that through into the future. Test prep, academic, course planning, things like that. career knowledge, again, nothing super new here, but really connecting that career to strengths and understanding who students are and understanding what a career is and what a salary is and how to set goals that are going to lead to that student to the career and keep them engaged as they move throughout their schooling. College knowledge. Again, I don't think that this is necessarily a four-year college for when it comes to college knowledge. College knowledge is really understanding what training leads to a successful career for students. So understanding what those institutions are that they can get their training at, understanding what the best fit is for them, and then really doing that search of what's going to make a difference, and what's going to be the best fit for that individual student. And then also incorporating the technical knowledge of what is it like to pay for college, and what is it like to live on a college campus. So all of that is incorporating college knowledge. And then that last competency was going to be, for me, it was going to be financial literacy in my mind, but then all of the research and all of the conversations that we have really led us to this transition skills theme. And this, I think, with all of the research, everyone knows what summer melt is. So all of the research on summer melt, where students are enrolling in college in the end of their senior year, the start of their senior year, but then they don't make it to their first day of college on campus, and then they're falling off. And I think the research varies on summer melt, but I think we've seen as high as 21% in some areas of summer melt. And if we're preparing our students to get to that point of deciding on a best fit institution, and then they're not making it to that first day, what are we doing? What could we have done better to get them there? I know we like to set them free after their senior year, but we need to make sure that they have those transition skills to know self-advocacy and know how to get to that first day. Know that orientation is something that they need to do, and if they can't find a ride, then how do we get there? What happens if they can't pay a fee? So I know that some of that is shared responsibility between the high schools and the colleges, but I think that we can do everything that we can as K-12 educators to really try to get them there as efficiently and successfully as possible. And also, this transition skills is not something that should be ignored until that senior year. So, as I mentioned earlier, transition skills really, successful transition skills really equal success for students. So if we can get them to build some good habits in middle school, so that transition from elementary school to middle school and then middle school to high school, then they're going to be better prepared and ready to go off into the next step without us. But if we prepare them well for 4 or 6 years, then we can feel pretty confident that they're going to be successful and be able to seek out those helpful adults as they need it once they get there. So on the bottom of this, you'll also see 3 bands. So we have digital literacy and goal setting and financial literacy, and that was because that wasn't a theme that would go just under one competency. So really they're woven throughout. I think goal setting is important in each of these competencies, as is financial literacy. We need to make sure that students know a budget and know what a salary is, and know how to live on their own, and know what financial aid is, and how to pay for college. So all of those 3 themes are really woven in throughout each of the areas. Any questions to this point? All right. So what does it look like in practice? What we hear a lot, and what kind of led to this whole creation of this framework is, Naviance is great. We have a lot of tools, but what do we do with it? And how do we deliver it to our students? And what's the best way? So we, like I said, have been sitting on a lot of data, and we have been working with a lot of schools to create scopes and sequences. So we wanted to do kind of a master scope and sequence, and just a way to really successfully lay out a program if anyone needed help with this. So I know a lot of you already have a program and are ready to rock. And so what we have is just a way for you to assess what you have and make sure that you're serving students with all competencies. We have laid out objectives, and that's all in the book too. So objectives per grade level. We have essential objectives if you're just starting a program and want to see where maybe the best 4 places to start are. We have activities that align with those objectives, and then we, of course, always encourage you to track all of that. So, it's out of order, but I'll talk about the assessment in a little bit. But here's just a sample of what things look like. So the activities, competencies, student modules. So of course, we would love for you to use Naviance for every single lesson that you do. But we know that may not be the reality, and you may have some really good materials that you're using right now. This is not Naviance specific. We do have ideas for you if you want to use Naviance for every piece of this. And you can definitely track everything in a success manner. But this is just a quick overview of some sample activities and objectives and the competencies that you can do with that. This is what our giant scope and sequence that I mentioned looks like. So this is this is a 2-pager. So this is an example of 12th grade. I probably should have picked the longest one, but I think a lot of these can be combined too into one lesson. But 12th grade we have, we have this for 6th through 12th grade, and this is something that if you are working with a consultant or a success manager or an account manager, they can get this full document to you. So you just feel free to reach out and ask them, and they can provide it. But this is really where we lay out everything. And I think it's okay for you to pick and choose. It's a lot of information, and I'll show you the assessment in a second. But this is a great place to come if you have if you're feeling like you're lacking in maybe transition skills. This is a great place to come and pick up a couple of those extra lessons. These are all aligned to the ask of mindsets of behaviors of mindsets, redefining ready, and then also the capsule of competencies. So they're all aligned there. We have a whole website that's dedicated to the framework. It's CCLR-framework, or naviance.com/CCLR-framework. And we have a white paper in there with all of the research behind the framework, and we have the assessment. And actually, if you have your computer up, I would love just to take a little bit of time. We have about 15 minutes. So if you want to pull your computer or your phone up and just log into naviance.com/CCLR-framework, I don't know what it's hard for me to say. Then just go through these steps. And what you're going to get, or what you're going to see at first, is just some questions for you on do you deliver certain lessons to your students? So it's all about lesson delivery. Hopefully we'll have a student assessment at some point in the near future, but right now it's based on lesson delivery, and at the end you'll get a PDF of something that looks a little bit like this, and it'll tell you really where you're doing a great job, and then maybe where you may want to add an extra lesson or two. So go ahead and go to that website. You can really just take that assessment and all of the scope and sequence and the grade book, and feel free to use it as you want. This is really something that we want to give to you as just a tool and something to start thinking about the process of really serving the whole student and thinking holistically about college career and incorporating that out. So I challenge you to, as you're talking to your stakeholders, so your school leadership and your district leadership, your parents, your students about college career and life readiness, to really enter that L into the conversation and make sure that they know and that you know that you're really preparing students for life and that end goal of a meaningful career.